Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Matt Dorsey, also known as the CHOQTOR, also known as CHOQ's Chief Scientific Officer and Formulator, resident natural health geek, person with slightly itchy nose. What's up, everybody? How's it going? How do you do? Chalky Chan, Anna, Brittany, and Brent. How are you? Trion, what's up? How's it going, man? Good to see you back. You seem like you're turning into a regular, so that's always nice to see. What's up, Danny B? Let's see. Heather, have you been here before? And Brittany, I'm not sure if I've seen your names, or Anna. If you're new, if it's your first time, welcome. Thanks for being here. And hopefully it won't be your last time. So yeah. Isabella, Evan, what's up, everybody? Cool. It's always nice to see some folks already here when we get started. And I think I'm going to do that crazy thing that I do sometimes, where we give away our first prize at the very beginning to help to reward people for good behavior, much like they reward you for good behavior in Australia for your compliance. That's a whole other conversation. Anybody ever seen that video by Paul Joseph Watson called Australia Has Fallen? Pretty crazy stuff. But anyway, that's a whole other topic. Yeah, let's do it. All right, timer is started. You have 1 minute. Give me a number between 1 and 100 in the chat. One entry only. And whoever wins will win one of any CHOQ products. Yes. So you have 48 more seconds on the clock to get your number in. And good luck to you all. I hope that you're feeling psychic today. I hope you're taking your Shilajit, which, as we all know, makes you psychic. LOL, just kidding. Hopefully the Federal Trade Commission won't get upset with me for making a product claim about our Shilajit that it, quote, makes you psychic, and we'll realize that that was tongue-in-cheek. I'm not legitimately making a product claim that Shilajit makes you psychic. Furthermore, I doubt we'll ever see any research on that. It would be pretty cool, though, to see somebody actually attempt to research that if Shilajit can enhance psychic powers. You got 8 seconds left on the board. And good luck to you all. All right. And that is it. Done. Cool. So what was our randomly generated number? It was 76. Let's see. Hunter is close. No, looks like Sergio is closer with 3 away at 79. Who else? Anybody else? 76. It looks to me as if Sergio may be our winner. Let me do one final check here. 76, because Hunter was real close. Hunter, you almost had it. You were 4 away with 72. Sergio, you've got 3 away with 79. I'm not seeing any other ones in that range. Therefore, Sergio, you are our winner. Congratulations, Sergio. You won prize number 1, which, of course, as most of us who are regulars know, that is one of any CHOQ product. So figure out which CHOQ product you would like, Sergio, and email CHOQ@CHOQ.com and redeem your free prize. Yeah, that's awesome. Well done, Sergio. Sergio, so you've won, what, once or twice before, or what? I'm curious. If anybody wins as many times as Mr. R, I'm going to be very impressed, because he still is our resident champion. He hasn't won in a little while recently, but was really on a roll there for a while. So, yeah, pretty awesome. Good job, Sergio. Well, okay. What kind of questions you guys got for me? Brent asks how I'm doing. Doing pretty well, Brent, actually. I am going to be doing a very low-key Friendsgiving this week. So, seeing family is a mixed bag for a lot of folks. It's cool, but it's also like kind of intense, especially when you get onto certain topics that start with the word V and rhyme with praxine. Can be real intense, right? And so I do have some family that's fairly close to me within driving distance. However, unfortunately, because I haven't put a certain thing in my body, I am not going to be part of that event that is being put on. But that's okay. It's all right. It happens. I'm pretty sure a lot of us probably have some experiences in that area. It's a little challenging, but the cool side of it is that I get to just hang out with friends for Thanksgiving, and it'll be a tad bit more low key, just going to do like a Friendsgiving potluck kind of thing. So I'm actually looking forward to that. I think it's going to be cool. Obviously, probably just give the fam a phone call and check in and say howdy. But yeah, low-key, friends-based Thanksgiving is always nice. It's actually what I did last year as well. And maybe one day we'll have family holidays again. They seem to be canceled indefinitely in my family right now. I don't know. Do you guys have any experiences with that? It's pretty intense, right? Just being like, all right, well, I suppose that I'm just never coming to any family events. Yeah, pretty crazy. What a crazy time to be alive, right? But I would say it's an opportunity to practice compassion at its best, really. So yeah, which is easier said than done sometimes. But it's a good time to practice compassion and realizing that people have very different opinions on things, and we don't have to hate each other just because we disagree on certain important topics. But yeah, sure is an intense time for families and friends. I know people who've lost friends over this topic, because they don't see eye to eye, like good friends, 20 years plus friends and things like that. So hope you guys are keeping it real with respect to all that and doing your best to stay chill and compassionate during the holidays, because that can be very challenging. Yeah. Let's see what we got. Any questions here? Oh, hey, what's up, Laura? How goes it? How goes it? Nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Trion says, man, I stocked up, I believe, every product coming in the mail this week except Seven Wonders Irish Moss. Awesome. Very cool. So, Trion, you are officially chalked up. Nice job, man. That's awesome. Glad you're digging it. And it's cool to see a new regular. I think you hopped on maybe a week or two ago, and I've been seeing you on a lot of these, so that's been pretty cool. I might be wrong on the timing, but cool to see a new regular here. Sergio says, before you said the number, it came to my mind. This is my second time I'm winning. Cool, Sergio. Nice. Well, that Shilajit must be doing something. I don't know if you're taking Shilajit or not. I'm just assuming. Let's see. So Sam is asking about NAC. And yes, NAC, I have been through this, a few times before, so I don't want to bore you guys with too much on NAC if I've told you a bunch of times. But what I will tell you about NAC is that basically it is a precursor to glutathione. Glutathione, so it's a critical building block that allows your body to ostensibly make, and in most cases, to make more glutathione. It's an amino acid. It's a form of cysteine, one of the three amino acids that forms the backbone of glutathione, the most important of all three in terms of access, right? We need it more than we need the other ones because we have ample amounts of glutamine and glycine. So NAC increases glutathione synthesis. What does glutathione do? It's almost simpler to say what glutathione doesn't do because it's so freaking important for your physiology. But let's just say that it has massive effects on your detoxification abilities. Glutathione binds to different toxins like heavy metals and shuttles them out of the body. Also pesticides, all sorts of things. Anything that's not supposed to be there, glutathione, there's a good chance it plays some role in getting rid of it. It also is involved in immune function. Glutathione is critical for immune function, and it is considered the master antioxidant. So it is the most important antioxidant the body creates. Although, it's hard to pick one because there's so many antioxidants that if you didn't have them, you would die. But glutathione is way at the top of that list in terms of essential antioxidants for your body to function. And just FYI, things that are bad, nasty things from outside do act as free radicals, such as certain toxins, right? However, many of the free radicals we're dealing with are actually endogenous, which is a fancy way of saying they're created inside the body. So a lot of these antioxidants, what they're doing is they're actually just helping to compensate for the free radical damage generated by your cells, the free radicals generated by your cells and the damage they can do. Great example, this is mitochondrial energy production. The mitochondria, they, let's just put it this way, they're like these furnaces, right? And they're producing energy, right? And they're spitting off a whole bunch of nasty extra junk. That's actually probably not the best metaphor, but let's just put it this way. There are toxic byproducts to energy creation and metabolism in the cell. And some of those are acting as free radicals. Mitochondria generate a lot of free radicals, so they need a lot of antioxidants to function properly to deal with all the free radicals they're generating. CoQ10, also known as ubiquinone and ubiquinol, also is involved in this, but certainly glutathione is involved in this process of quenching mitochondrial free radicals, or ROS, also known as reactive oxygen species. If you want to sound really smart when you're talking about this with your friends, don't call them free radicals. Call them reactive oxygen species, and then you'll sound like you're very intelligent. reactive oxygen species. And sometimes in the biz, they just call it ROS, R-O-S. So that's the real fancy term for free radicals, right? But anyway, so yeah, whenever somebody asks me what NAC or glutathione does, my answer is always like 4 minutes long minimum because it does so much. And there's more I could talk about, but you know, it almost might get too much at some point. But yeah, always happy to describe how some of this stuff works to you guys. NAC is amazing, and it is too bad that it's disappearing as a supplement. Really too bad. I have heard that there's a trade organization. I believe it's the American Herbal Products Association, or perhaps someone else who represents supplements companies, who is trying to fight the FDA on the NAC ban. And I don't know if they've made any headway, but they are doing their best to appeal it, because it should actually, they're claiming that banning it is actually not legal, that their legal justification is actually does not hold water. So we'll see how that goes, but probably it's going away most likely, because there are probably very powerful forces, market forces behind the reason that it's being pulled, because they're making perhaps competitive products in another industry. Hint, hint. All right, let's see here. Do friends of the family you choose? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Chosen family is a big deal. Absolutely. That's correct, Evan, rather. Let's see. We mix together and don't talk about this when we get together. Brent, that's probably a good policy. If you're in mixed company and you got people of different perspectives, there's certain things it's just you don't want to talk about. You know, it's like religion, politics, and the V. Those are like the three things that if you're in a big mixed crowd that you probably just don't bring up, because it's going to get real awkward real fast. Let's see here. Do minerals over chemicals? Yes, Trion, I agree with that. What does ashwagandha do? Okay, good question, Mr. Babinski. Let's take a look. Let me show you, of course, the product. This guy right here. So if you're not familiar with CHOQ ashwagandha, we use the strongest version of this particular extract that you can find anywhere, which is a 600 milligram dose. It is the organic version. So this particular extract that's in here comes in a conventional and an organic. And of course, we use the organic because if we're given a choice, we'll always pick the organic every day. That's what CHOQ does. The strongest you can find of this particular extract anywhere in the world by any other company is 500 a day. So we went, because we're CHOQ, we went full CHOQ and did 600. Now, what does ashwagandha do? Well, check this out. Promotes healthy stress response. That is one of the biggest things. Ashwagandha is just an amazing all-around adaptogen. And one of the things that adaptogens tends to do, ashwagandha is one of the best examples of this, is that they're fantastic at regulating the HPA axis, which is a fancy way of saying the way that your hypothalamus and pituitary and your brain talk to your adrenals. Your brain talks to your adrenals, right? And what does that mean? Well, the adrenals are what synthesize our stress hormones, such as adrenaline and cortisol, but they do that only when they're given a signal by our brain that we are freaking out, basically, right? So the brain decides when to get stressed out, and when your brain has decided that it's time to freak out, because maybe you're hanging out with your uncle at Thanksgiving, and your uncle's like, you know, telling you you're a horrible person because you didn't do a certain thing or put a certain thing in your body, for example, then at that point, your brain is going to perhaps tell your adrenals to synthesize more of these hormones of stress or hormones of fear, adrenaline, cortisol, you know. And some of these adaptogens, what they tend to do, and ashwagandha is maybe the best example of this on the planet, they tend to regulate that relationship, that HPA axis, so that perhaps in situations that would stress you out, you may be less likely to secrete the same amount of stress hormones. And so there's a lot of great research on this particular one that we use in this product here to support healthy cortisol levels. And further, I've written about this actually. If you guys want to check out the CHOQ blog, I have talked about, let's see here, in my blog on testosterone. And again, just to let you guys know, obviously, testosterone is important for women too. Both men and women need it, just in very different amounts, as we always say. But in this particular blog, it's called The Many Faces of Testosterone. You guys might really enjoy this. It does also talk about cortisol in there and why cortisol and testosterone are almost opposites. So stress hormones and sex hormones tend to have an antagonistic relationship. And one of the reasons that a lot of these adaptogens, like the ashwagandha and also like the tomcat, have a tendency to support healthy levels of both is because they have this seesaw relationship where the cortisol and the testosterone, they kind of suppress each other. So the idea is you want to optimize your testosterone to cortisol ratio by increasing T and decreasing cortisol within healthy ranges and all that. So anyway, ashwagandha, though, very simply put, without being as technical, ashwagandha supports healthy mood and focus, healthy hormones, healthy stress chemistry, and also healthy energy levels and things like that. So those are some of the main areas. It also has some antioxidant properties, not huge, but a little bit of antioxidant properties, and does support also healthy blood sugar levels. So yeah, that's a big one. Ashwagandha is a must-have. It's one of the favorite adaptogens, and its popularity has skyrocketed in the last year and a half for some unbeknownst reason. LOL. Since everybody's stressed out, right? Obviously. And real quick, also, I'm just going to be annoying for a second. If you haven't got a chance to hit the like button, if you're watching this and you dig it, please, if you wouldn't mind, just hit the like button real quick. All of those super duper helpful for us. All the likes on the videos. Also, anything you want to ask me, you can say, "Hey, CHOQTOR," in the comments. If you don't get a chance to ask today during the chat, throw a comment on there, and I will go back every week or two and just get all those done. And I do see the likes going up right now in response to what I said, so I do really appreciate that, guys. If you just wouldn't mind making a habit out of that, and if you do want to subscribe, that's awesome too, and share with your friends and all that kind of stuff. So, yep, that's how you play the YouTube game there. Got to ask for the likes. Okay, so what else we got here? Is Apex coming out by December? Danny, I really hope so, but unfortunately, it's looking like it might not be. I was hoping it would. These things take a long time, way longer than I would like, and so it's looking unlikely that it will. Make sure to check your CHOQ emails, though, for sure. Hello, BMez. Good day. How's everything down under? Can I take all of my products in one day? Trion, yeah, absolutely. And that's totally up to you if you want to take your, products all at the same time or throughout the day. Just follow the instructions on the bottle, though. And yeah, certainly you can take the whole CHOQ line in one day. Absolutely. It's built for that purpose. It's built to be a big stack that you take all together. Yeah. That's stack with a Q. And just to let y'all know, we are going to be dropping our pre-made CHOQ stacks. We're going to have 5 different stacks for y'all to choose from, and we'll have plenty more in the future, but we're going to be launching with 5 stacks. We want to have it out by Black Friday, so be on the lookout for some pre-made stacks. We're going to have 2 women's stacks, 2 men's stacks, and then we're going to have a mega stack, which is almost all the CHOQ products with 1 or 2 exceptions. And, of course, there will be discounts on those stacks. And a couple of the bigger stacks, we might have some incentives where you might get, if you buy the bigger stack, you might get a free shirt, something like that. We're kind of working on that right now. So be on the lookout. Make sure you check all your CHOQ emails this week, because we will be sending out some emails for some pretty amazing, coupons and all the Black Friday stuff. So that's definitely happening. So check your CHOQ emails this week. I know y'all are going to be inundated with emails about Black Friday sales from all the different companies you buy from. So it's going to be harder to find them, but definitely look for the CHOQ ones, because this will be probably one of the best or maybe the best sale of the year. So if you want to save some money and buy CHOQ for you or buy CHOQ for somebody else for Christmas, this is definitely the time to do it. Yeah. And let your friends know if your friends are trying to buy CHOQ and save some money. Send these coupon codes to your friends, forward the email to your friends or whatever, all that stuff. Yeah. So let's see here. All right, I got mine this week. It smells, but I feel it working well. Yeah, herbs do smell weird sometimes. Let's see. All right, cool. I'm sitting along Highway 101 smelling my sourdough and sourdough cinnamon rolls. Okay, nice. Your friend is selling some kind of culinary mushrooms you picked up this morning. Cool, awesome, Laura. Glad you're enjoying your low-gluten sourdough bread there. That's cool. Oh, that's really interesting. Rochelle Alfaris CHOQ. So we actually have a woman whose last name is CHOQ, spelled CHOQ or CHOCK, which is awesome. And Rochelle, CHOQ does not necessarily stand for anything in particular. However, our original formula our very first product that has CHOQ, that's called CHOQ Daily. It has cacao extract in it, actually. All right, so CHOQ kind of stands for chocolate in a sense. Of course, we do have some really amazing cacao beans that we sell, and we are going to have more cacao-based products in the future. So CHOQ for sure does relate to cacao and chocolate. That's kind of part of it. Also, you know, it was a 4-letter long pronounceable domain name with a .com, which is very, very valuable from a marketing standpoint. So that was a nice side benefit to having a name like CHOQ. And that's kind of the deal, yeah. Is NAC supposed to smell? Asked Laura. Yeah, NAC is a sulfur-containing compound. So NAC is a form of cysteine. Cysteine is a sulfur-containing amino acid. And sulfur, as we all know, you know, it's the reason that eggs smell funky. It's the reason that cruciferous vegetables like broccoli sometimes can smell kind of funky in certain situations, especially if you have you ever steamed broccoli and then forgotten about the water in the pot and then come back a couple hours later to your place and then been like, wow, that stinks. So that's the sulfur. So yes, NAC is a sulfur-containing amino acid, and yeah, it is supposed to smell. Yeah. All right, let's see here. What else we got? Okay. Where are we now? Just scrolling up to catch up to all the other questions here. What's the best way to absorb CHOQ products with food or empty stomach? Evan, empty stomach may give you some advantages in terms of absorption. I can't say that for sure. But what I will say is that if you have a sensitive stomach, I would recommend having it with a snack, because sometimes taking a bunch of pills and different herbs on empty stomach, if you have a sensitive stomach, not the best. So that's the main thing. Evan, I will also tell you that if you do take any minerals like magnesium or zinc, there's a good chance that the Shilajit will enhance the absorption. If you take CoQ10, Shilajit greatly enhances the absorption as well. So that's a great one. All right, let's see what else we got here. Do you need more glutathione as you age, says Senior Prepper. Oh, hello, Senior Prepper. Nice seeing you here. Haven't seen you on one of these in a while. I would say yes. Now, I don't think I can, off the top of my head, cite a particular study. But in general, all of your body's endogenous antioxidants tend to go down as you age. You know, you tend to have an increase in reactive oxygen species and a decrease in your body's ability to mitigate those reactive oxygen species with endogenous antioxidants like glutathione. So I would say that it is extremely likely that it does go down. How much it goes down, who knows? But I'd say there's about a 90+% chance that yes, that does happen. And I'm sure if I were to give it a quick scan on PubMed or something, I'm sure I would find some evidence for that. Very, very likely. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes, most likely, without saying 100%, just in case. Let's see here. Laura is saying not to take Action 2.0 on an empty stomach. Yes, we do have that feedback from some of CHOQ Nation. It is true that this guy right here, fantastic formula that it is, does have a tendency sometimes to upset some people's stomachs. So that is one that you might want to take with perhaps a little bit of food. Does not necessarily have to be a full meal, but perhaps just a healthy snack like an apple and a handful of cashews or something like that. That's all you need to do, you know, to buffer something. You don't have to do a full meal per se. But yeah, I'm still not exactly sure which ingredient in the Action tends to do that. It might be the rhodiola. Rhodiola has some tannins in it. It tends to be a little weird. If you've ever taken rhodiola and put it directly on your tongue or just in your mouth, it is kind of intense. The flavor itself is not that bad. It's more about the tannins and the drying effects of it. Tannins can be rough on the stomach. If anyone's ever over-steeped green tea or any kind of tea, really, white or black, a lot of Americans don't know how to make tea because we don't know the correct temperature and we don't know how to steep it properly, how many minutes. Same thing can happen with that. That one of the reasons that it'll upset your stomach if you steep green tea for too long or any tea is because of the tannins. And certainly rhodiola does have some tannins in it. All right, what's next? Stocking up on NAC, says Danny. Awesome. That is a great idea. That is a great idea. Yes, I would definitely stock up because it is going away as far as we know. So I would get it while you can. See if y'all can find some bulk NAC powders. That would be a good one. And BMES, to answer your question, Apex 2.0 is going to be without NAC because obviously we can't use NAC anymore. And it will be dropping. Hopefully January is looking more likely at this point. But yeah, that's the deal with that. All right, let's see here. Finn, to answer your question about the HPA axis, essentially what we're saying, not making any claims as to repairing anything per se, but we'll just say strengthen, I think is a good way to say support healthy HPA axis. And another fancy way, Finn, to say that is it supports autonomic tone. Autonomic tone essentially means that, as some of y'all might know, you have the peripheral nervous system and the central nervous system. Central nervous system is, brain, spinal cord. Peripheral is everything else, basically. Your peripheral nervous system has two branches called the sympathetic and parasympathetic. Sympathetic is fight or flight, and parasympathetic, there's a few different sayings. One of them is rest and digest. The other one is feed and breed. So they're very yang and yin. Sympathetic is your yang, parasympathetic is your yin. And so another way you could put it is that it supports autonomic tone, meaning that you have a good balance between these two yin and yang opposite branches of the peripheral nervous system, the sympathetic and parasympathetic, the fight or flight, feed and breed. So that's part of what we're doing with these adaptogens, supporting autonomic tone. Another $1 million phrase on top of reactive oxygen species that you can use at dinner parties to sound really smart. Okay. Heard from a friend that you need to take a small break from certain adaptogens. Evan, yeah. Evan, I would agree with that. Honestly, I haven't seen this actually researched where they're comparing different groups, and seeing if perhaps a group that takes breaks gets better results in the long run or not. So I really can't speak about that from a totally research-based perspective, Evan, but I will say that, yes, taking breaks from adaptogens, in my experience, does tend to be helpful. It doesn't have to be huge breaks, but I'd say perhaps maybe 3 or 4 days a month, something like that. There are different schools of thought on that, and not a lot of hard science to back that up, but certainly anecdotally and personal experience, I think you do want to take maybe 3, 4, possibly 5 days off a week, something like that. That does seem to be helpful. Yeah. All right, let's see here. What else do we got here? What's a good combo for male hormone support and female hormone support? Well, at first you wrote male homing support. So I was like, oh yeah, like our ability to navigate according to the magnetic field lines. That would be pretty cool though. And obviously we probably have a latent ability to do that, but think about how awesome it would be if your brain was like a compass, right? Just like how it works for animals. And that does relate to the pineal gland, by the way. So instead of answering your question, I am going to say that, you guys are always asking about the pineal gland, right? And talking about third eye and shilajit and all that cool esoteric stuff. And what I will say is, and many of y'all who are regulars have heard me say this before, so sorry for repeating myself, but the pineal gland is a magnetoreceptor organ. Magnetoreceptor. Not as in the X-Men villain, but as in it is sensitive to magnetic fields. And there has been interesting research. There was a study where they actually, unfortunately for the birds, they pinealectomized them. They removed their pineal glands, and then they found that they were no longer able to navigate properly. They couldn't actually go home for the winter or whatever. So it does certainly seem that the pineal gland and its magnetoreceptive qualities does support actual homing type behavior. Further, they did do a research with humans, a very, very low tech, kind of almost comically silly research study where they basically had humans sit in a chair. They blindfolded them, they spun them around a bunch of times, and then they asked them to guess which of the 4 cardinal directions they were facing. So this is a real study, and the control group was just like that. The experimental group, they strapped a magnet to the side of these people's heads to interfere with their brain's magnetoreception, which ostensibly is primarily through the pineal gland, but there's evidence to suggest that it happens actually throughout many different cells because of what they call cryptochrome proteins. But long story short, when they strapped a magnet to people's heads, their accuracy on guessing which direction they were facing went down. I don't remember how far it went down because it's been over a decade since I read this study, but I thought that was fascinating. Absolutely fascinating, right? So a very, very low tech, kind of funny, way, but still a real study, a way of demonstrating that there is something to the idea that the Earth's magnetic field lines are in some way perceptible by humans, as well as obviously probably all animals to some extent. And perhaps if we could see what birds see or other animals, even dogs or cats, they might actually see the magnetic field lines. It's possible, right? It's possible their brain is interpreting, electromagnetism through, like as an actual visual interpretation, or it could just be a feeling they get. I was hanging out with a friend, and her dog was using the bathroom outside, and her dog she mentioned that her dog dogs always pee north-south. They're either facing north or south when they urinate. And so we were outside, her dog was going to the bathroom, and I looked and I kind of just did this to track, where the dog was, and then I took my phone out, my compass, and it was really close to north. It was like northwest basically. And just demonstrated right there. So next time, if you have a dog or if you're around a dog who's using the bathroom, actually just see what direction that dog is facing, and it's most likely going to be north or south. My friend who's pretty research savvy, she said this is a very well-known phenomenon in certain circles, and there was a study where they used tens of thousands of dogs to prove that this is just basically something that all dogs know how to do, apparently. It's not like some of them, it's like all of them. So fascinating. Anyway, so little digression there, but a fun one. But Janelle, to answer your question about what's good for male hormone support and female hormone support, great place to start for males is going to be, of course, the CHOQ Daily. This is our original men's product. This one's fantastic. It's got the full dose of shilajit, as well as some other cool Ayurvedic herbs like mucuna pruriens, as well as Safed muesli. It also has cacao extract in it. Great product. Next one on top of that, it's going to be excellent for men and also women, is Tomcat. Obviously, the CHOQ Daily is a men's product. So for women, you'd want to do, instead of daily, you'd want to do just the shilajit. And then on top of that, the next step is going to be ashwagandha. And by the way, these CHOQ stacks that are launching soon, they are going to have, they are going to be built, some of them, for that purpose, right? So there's going to be a female vitality, a male vitality, and then a female vitality ultra, a men's vitality ultra. And we have custom created these stacks. I've made these blends of products for a specific purpose. And so even just the smaller female or male bundle, this is going to be about 3 products. Even just those will be a great place to start for hormonal health and cortisol support and all that, so it'll make shopping a little easier for you and your friends and family with these pre-made stacks. Yeah. All right. Ooh, we got a lot of other questions here. What else we got? A product for people who are older, over 60, who don't eat the best. Okay. Well, Brittany, to answer your question, CHOQ products do contain some vitamins and minerals, but not a lot. That's not the primary purpose of taking them. Primary purpose is to get phytochemicals from all these different amazing plants. So, they're not a replacement for healthy eating. They're just really not. Now, of course, they're going to support your system, but what we sell are primarily not actually technically nutrients, just FYI, in the strictest sense of the word, right? We do have Action 2.0 has B12 in it. And of course, Apex glutathione has a bunch of different B vitamins in it. And there are some minerals, like Irish moss has certain minerals, but these are not a replacement. CHOQ products are not a replacement for eating well. Just have to tell you, just flat out. It's important to know that. And they're not a replacement for like a multivitamin either, because a multivitamin literally does have all those different categories hit on it. So I'd say really ideally you want to make sure that they're doing all of it. There's no replacement for healthy eating. Multivitamins also you have to be careful with. Make sure you have a really reputable brand. I don't like to talk about specifically other brands, but very, very important, because there's a lot of crappy multivitamins out there. And in fact, most of them are absolute garbage and not fit for human consumption, in my humble opinion. Brent says, doubled up on some of your products. Cool. Okay. Let's see here. Finn says that CHOQ is the only supplement that has smelled powerfully festive in my experience. I love that. I love that phrasing, powerfully festive. That's hilarious. All right, nice. Okay, is that why I've been? Somebody had some flatulence after taking an AC. That certainly is a possibility. Yeah, that could happen. That could happen. Yes, an AC is definitely supposed to smell bad. Yes, guys, absolutely. In fact, I'd be worried if the NAC didn't smell bad. It's almost like it might not be the real deal. Brent says, I'm almost 63 and work at bricklaying, and CHOQ has made a huge difference in energy and focus. That's awesome, Brent. Good for you. Wow. 63 and doing a labor-intensive job like that. Very cool. That's fantastic. Janelle says, thank you for what you do. Thank you, Janelle. Appreciate you as well. Thanks for being here. Thanks to everybody for hitting the like button and for making sure you're subscribed and sharing this with all your friends and family. And thanks for all the regulars who, just make it awesome. It's just so cool to see some of you guys on like almost all these, Matthew says, do you recommend still supplementing when on a water fast? Certainly water fasting is pretty stressful for your body. So what I would say is that, yeah, having some healthy stress support, healthy cortisol support like ashwagandha and tonkat and shilajit, things like that would not be a bad idea on a water fast. And of course, there's not enough calories in them to have any effect and break your fast. So might not be a bad idea. JJ asks, what else is good for glutathione production? So Apex glutathione, if you look at the breakdown of everything that's in here, literally everything that's in here supports glutathione, supports your body's creation and utilization of glutathione. So B2, B6, folate, B12, selenium, molybdenum, NAC, obviously, we talked about that, alpha lipoic acid, reishi, bacopa, and jagulan. That's this one. Of course, the new formula is a bit different. We do have no NAC. I did actually take the reishi out as well because I felt like it was a better choice given what I could put in there and regarding the price per kilogram to do organic milk thistle, actually, a little bit more on point for that, as well as, of course, some ginkgo. So the new Apex is going to be really awesome for focus. Be great for focus support. But yeah, JJ, to answer your question, all of those nutrients I just rattled off, they all help with the glutathione system. So, you could also look for some supplements that have those in them. Let's see. Janelle says, first time buyer, bought a whole supply and got them yesterday. Very excited. That's awesome, Janelle. Good for you. That's really cool. Really, really cool. I'm glad you're digging it. BMez wants to know where to get NAC. BMez, just search online for bulk NAC. There are companies still selling it. Amazon does not sell any NAC anymore, but iherb.com, IHERB, I believe still have some. Let's see here. Okay. Elma says, when do you recommend taking supplements with food first thing in the morning? Again, main thing is if you have a sensitive stomach, do it with a little bit of food at least. As far as the timing goes, it doesn't matter as much except for more stimulating supplements, such as, for example, Action 2.0 or Men's Daily. Those are a little more stimulating. If you take them super late at night, they may keep you up. They're not going to be as stimulating as chugging a giant cappuccino or coffee or something, but that still could happen. But other than that, it doesn't really matter that much when you take them. As long as you're taking them every day consistently, that's the most important thing. All right, you guys are asking some great questions today. We got a lot going on. This is cool. And by the way, just FYI, if anybody showed up after the first few minutes, we did already give away prize number 1 today. And I've been doing that more often recently and just kind of rewarding folks for showing up right off the bat. So I'm going to increasingly give away prize number 1 in the very beginning of the show. But prize number 2 is coming up. So stay tuned. And we'll be doing that shortly. All right. What else we got? When is Shane going to be back on YouTube? Chalky Chan, I have no idea. I really don't know. Didn't even know he wasn't on YouTube. Laura says, I'm all chalked up. Sold on my 20 my 20 loaves plus sourdough cinnamon rolls. Good for you, Laura. That's awesome. Nicely done. All right. Deani says, that's cool about the pineal gland. I want to learn more. Yeah, Deani, there's a lot of interesting stuff about that. Of course, the pineal gland does create the neurotransmitter dimethyltryptamine, also known as DMT. I always make sure if I'm talking about it to refer to it as a neurotransmitter so that people know that it's not simply a drug that is extracted from plants. It is actually a natural neurotransmitter made by your brain. And of course, what's really interesting is to know that, of course, clearly DMT is highly psychoactive and it is a psychedelic, it is a hallucinogen at larger amounts. But in smaller amounts, it actually has a calming effect. And so anyway, it will be interesting to see in the future if we find out easier ways to assess how much DMT is in someone's body. Then we might actually be able to infer that in some cases, people might have a DMT deficiency type of a syndrome going on where they have lower amounts than the average populace. And we might be able to correlate that to certain things, certain mood issues, right? And it is interesting to know that the pineal gland is one of the central sites of DMT production. And again, what most people talk about DMT, they're referring to it as this crazy hallucinogen and all the ayahuasca and all the other stuff around it. And yeah, that's all really interesting for a lot of reasons. But at the same time, it's interesting just to think of it as this is something that your body manufactures and it has a purpose. And there probably is going to be some kind of deficiency syndrome around diagnosing lower than average amounts at some point in people's bodies and brains. So as a practitioner, I'm especially interested in that aspect of the pineal gland and, how that all relates. And by the way, on a molecular level, chemistry level, dimethyltryptamine is in the same family as melatonin and serotonin, right? Serotonin is hydroxytryptamine, right? And melatonin is, what is the technical name for melatonin? I forgot. Melatonin molecule. They're all tryptamines. They're all in the same family. The body can interconvert them. And let's see here. Wonder if somebody can beat me to this. Let's see if the Wikipedia article has it on here. It's N-acetyl-5-methoxytryptamine. Oh yeah, of course. No wonder I didn't remember that. But yes, anyway, they're all based on what's called the tryptamine molecule, melatonin, serotonin, and DMT. And so they all have same. They fit similar receptor sites, 5-HT receptors. Which just stands for 5-hydroxytryptamine, which is serotonin. And, that stuff is super, super fascinating to me. I actually was considering after I did my undergrad in psychology, I was considering the possibility of studying, doing a master's in psychology and maybe doing experimental psychology. I was also considering possibly becoming a therapist. But basically I graduated undergrad, with a BS, which is hilarious, BS in psychology. And then I worked at a coffee shop and then also did like a data entry job for a while, just trying to figure out, do I want to go to grad school? Do I want to pay for it? What do I want to study? And during that time, I got really obsessed with researching the pineal gland and studying dimethyltryptamine and all that kind of stuff and trying to figure out if there was something I could do on a grad school level to study it. So I definitely have some, it's definitely an area of research that I a long time ago dove really deeply into. I was also fascinated by the neurophysiology of watching television. And there is some evidence to show that television can put you into a little bit of a hypnotic state. That's interesting also just from an angle of like how you might be influenced unconsciously, of course, by what you watch on the screen, and marketing, all that kind of stuff. So, and if you want to know more about some really kind of more crazy out there stuff involving technology, you guys should definitely watch Stay Human, episode 1. If you haven't watched that yet, you have to watch that one. Like seriously, definitely click on this link I'm going to post right here. It's called Stay Human episode 1, The Coming Tech Takeover. It's almost 2 hours long. It was 2 hours long until I had to edit out 2 parts with a TED Talk because it was a copyright infringement. But anyway, it's about an hour and 49 minutes long. And I go into some really deep, crazy stuff involving transhumanism, psyops, neuroweaponology, the singularity, the mythology, the mythological and psychological underpinnings of our obsession with creating AI and robots, all sorts of really intense stuff. It was a cool departure because I wasn't talking about herbs and nutrition, which I love to do, but it was fun to talk about something totally different. And of course, I'm a psychologist at heart. That's what got me into the healing arts in the first place, was psychology. So got to dive really deep into the psychology underneath all this stuff, and fascinating. It was a really fun video. So definitely check that one out. I just posted it right there for you guys. And of course, it is episode 1, so stay tuned in the future for episode 2. That will be coming out. And speaking of things that will be coming out soon, next week, we've got we've got our special on keto coming out. And so let me just send a link to you guys on that one as well. That's in 10 days. So it's going to be Friday of next week. It was going to be earlier, as most of y'all know, but I postponed it. But it's called The Dark Side of Keto. And go over to that one, hit the like button on it. And then you can also set a reminder so that YouTube will tell you, hey, this is about to come up. But yes, won't go too much detail on that one right now. But let's just say that keto is perhaps a bit more dangerous than people might realize. So, yeah. All right, let's see here. Sam says something about using terminology like I am an animal instead of comparing to a machine. Yes, absolutely, Sam. You know, there was that blog I did called Don't Be a Biohacker, which, of course, I discuss in Stay Human episode 1. And, yeah, we use a lot of language that implies that we're machines, but we're not. We are not. And Anna, yes, Anna Soto, your question about is keto bad? You know, I don't want to oversimplify and just say it's bad. Well, let's just put it this way. It's one way to lose weight, by far probably the worst way possible to lose weight, in my opinion, but you certainly can lose weight on it. And there are relatively better and worse ways to do it. But as far as an actual sustainable diet to do on a permanent basis, it is an absolute nightmare, and I highly recommend against it. And there is an ample amount of scientific evidence to show how dangerous it is and how it actually worsens insulin function and all sorts of things. And I will certainly be presenting a lot of that information on the Dark Side of Keto next week, Friday at 6 o'clock Central Time. So next Friday, December 3rd, 6 o'clock Central Time. Definitely tune in and check it out. And invite your keto friends, you know, tell them they're going to get pissed off at me. But hey, there we go. All right, what else we got here? Whew, you guys got a lot of questions today. This is good. Let's see. A new flavor for the holidays, fresh cranberry sauce with walnuts and orange zest. Cool. That sounds delicious. Nice. You know, cranberries are actually a really cool superfood. They've got OPCs in them. They're called, I believe they're called OPCs, oligomeric proanthocyanidins, something like that. Which are great for the immune system and things like that. So cranberries are actually really pretty awesome. And have you heard that ashwagandha needs to be mixed with milk? It absolutely does not need to be mixed with milk. That is not correct. Let's see here. And certainly, Christiana, to answer your question, though, about the ashwagandha and milk, there could be a tradition in Ayurveda that does that, but it doesn't mean that it needs to be absorbable. Certainly, all the research on our ashwagandha, the ingredient we use in ours, none of it was combined with milk, and you know it still works. So we know that you don't have to do that. Let's see. Senior Prepper says, I'm 75 and Action 2.0 really makes a huge difference in my energy level. That's awesome. Good for you, Senior Prepper. Fantastic. Anybody else in their mid 70s in here? That's awesome. Best tip to help ingest the supplements. Yeah, Kevin, like I was saying, you know, just in general, really, if you have a sensitive stomach, take with some food, at least a snack, and then just take them consistently. That's the most important thing. It's more important to take them consistently than to take them at the exact perfect time of day. That being said, if you're going to go out and you're going to do a hike or you're going to do some yoga or ecstatic dance or whatever you're going to do, work out in the gym, bike ride, you know, you might want to take, you know, some of your action maybe 30 to 60 minutes before, you know, or of course your, you know, your daily or your Tomcat or anything else that helps with energy levels. Might be a good idea to take it, you know, maybe somewhere between half an hour and a couple hours before you do that. Pretty good idea to do it that way. All right. Let's see here. Laura says, I'm almost 70. I take all CHOQ products for 6 months. I feel more alive than ever. Good for you, Laura. That's fantastic. Very cool. Danny B says, what are your thoughts on magic mushrooms? So, Danny, I will tell you, obviously, since we're just discussing this through an official channel where I represent a supplements company, quick caveat to not break the law. So if they happen to not be legal where you are, then don't take them. But that being said, there is actually an amazing resurgence of very legitimate psychedelic research showing therapy from psilocybin mushrooms. That's very real and pretty impressive what some of these studies have shown. They've shown things where like people who basically have a terminal illness and they're at the end of their life, they can have one experience with this compound and then it will permanently for the rest of their life significantly reduce their death anxiety. Really cool research on that. And I know that they've even been decriminalized, I think somewhere in Oregon or something, or was it Colorado? One of those real, crunchy states. And also, Danny, just so you know, since you asked, and we were talking about dimethyltryptamine, psilocybin is a form of dimethyltryptamine. So it's actually just it's an orally active DMT is really what psilocybin is. It's a 4-phosphoryloxy dimethyltryptamine. So it's the same, it's psilocybin from mushrooms, the same molecule, DMT molecule with some other stuff added to it. And again, just, quick caveat, I'm speaking as someone who is a student of physiology and not someone who's necessarily advocating that people, take anything that's not legal. But just from a scientific perspective and also a therapeutic perspective, there are some very, very legitimate studies on this stuff. And it is interesting to note that psilocybin in mushrooms is simply an orally active form of DMT. DMT is not orally active. It cannot be eaten because there are enzymes in your gut that break it down. And these mushroom species have actually, they added some other molecules, some other groups to the DMT molecule to make it orally active to bypass these enzymes, which I find fascinating. But anyway, mushrooms in general are really fascinating. Not just the psychoactive ones, obviously. People love our 7 Wonders product, which, is not, obviously does not contain any psychedelics, but is just great for supporting healthy immune system, healthy inflammation response, healthy mood and focus, antioxidant support, all that kind of stuff. So, and be on the lookout for more mushroom-based products such as reishi and chaga and lion's mane and cordyceps in the future, because that's definitely in the works. What do you think about Sustantia Aswana? Sustantia tubulosa is a pretty cool one. I've actually been playing around with it a little bit in a blend recently. Probably won't make it to the final cut, but it is a Chinese herb, and it certainly does seem to be good for energy and blood flow and things like that. All right, let's see what else. Somebody mentioned something about you working at Whole Foods. Yes, I did work at Whole Foods back in the day. I sure did. And learned a lot while I was there. Yeah. Kevin says, what time is the start daily? Kevin, we do have slightly different times each day, but on most days it's around 5 to 5:30. Sometimes because I have something going on later in the day, I'll do it a little earlier, around 3:30. And it's probably we're going to stick with 4 times a week where we skip Thursdays and we do an extra long, extra crunk one on Fridays. That's been the tradition recently. So skip Thursdays and then do an extra long one with double prizes on Friday. And yeah, right around the same time, somewhere between 5 and 6 is the default time. All right. Wow. So many questions. I can barely keep up, guys. Evan says, you down with OPCs? Yeah, you know me. That's hilarious. I like it. All right. What else we got here? What's the best way to lose weight, says Diani. Ooh, that's a complex one. Diani, definitely, I am going to suggest during the Dark Side of Keto presentation next week at 6 p.m. Central on Friday, I am going to suggest some alternative approaches to keto for a healthier way to lose weight. So if you want to know about that, definitely tune in next week. Hey, Doctor, can you talk about urolithin A? Danny B, I would love to. And let me also, so deep dive on Shilajit that I did on our CHOQ channel. This is a pretty awesome video. It's got almost 3,000 views now, so that's pretty cool, considering that it's, our channel is relatively new. I just posted that. So Danny, definitely check that one out. I talked for an hour with Dr. Sani and also Dr. Thomas, 2 experts on Shilajit who work with the company who supplies our Shilajit. And we do talk about urolithin A. Urolithin A, just so you guys know, it is a compound that is almost a CoQ10-like compound that occurs naturally in Shilajit. So it is very helpful for mitochondrial energy production. And does, I believe, work in the specific part of the mitochondria, the same one that CoQ10 works in, which is technically called the electron transport chain. Another thing that you can say that'll make you sound real smart and fancy, if you say it around other people, you're like, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about, electron transport chain. But yes, urolithin A, really, really cool compound. And if you're into mitochondria, which, everybody should be, right? Then look up urolithin A and definitely check out that deep dive on Shilajit video I just posted, because that's the one right there where we do talk about urolithin A on there. And by the way, if you don't feel like watching the whole hour-long video, which I get it, it's kind of long, you can actually go down to the chapters. And so right now I see in the description, right around 17 minutes in, it does talk a little bit about urolithin A. Of course, we talk about it throughout the presentation, but you can use the chapters to then just make it more efficient to where you don't have to watch the whole darn thing. Okay. Iswana, no, Apex is probably not coming out before Christmas. I was hoping it would, but it looks unlikely. All right. Well, almost at the hour point, and I do have some other stuff going on, but this has been awesome, guys. I think it's time to give away prize number 2. So 1 minute, counting down. Everybody get your 2-digit number in. Throw it down there in the chat. I'll get some water here. Make sure you get it in. You got 44 seconds left on the clock. And I'll also tell you guys, I do have to apologize for the super annoying repeated requests for likes, because I don't want to be that guy. But if you haven't had a chance to like this video and you are enjoying it, we certainly would super duper appreciate it if you could give it a quick like and do the whole subscribe thing if you want to and all that, because all that does help us build the channel. My goal is by the end of 2022, I want to have 10,000 subscribers. We're at about 1,500 right now. So hopefully that's an appropriate goal. And every single one of those likes does really help us. So really do appreciate it. I saw a couple people hit the button just now. So we are done. That is the 60-second mark. And the number is 65. Let's see. 65. Andreas with 63. Anybody else? Oh, Iswana with 64. Good job, Iswana. I believe you are the winner. You must be taking your Shilajit. Just double check here. Yes, Iswana, you are official winner. And congratulations. You win prize number 2, which, of course, as most of y'all know, is a bag of organic heirloom cacao beans, as well as a CHOQ premium organic made in the USA t-shirt. And so just go pick out whatever style shirt you want. We got long short sleeve. We have the brown as well as the gold. And then, of course, we have the all different sizes. So go pick that out before you email CHOQ@CHOQ.com. Let them know what size and style you'd like. And you'll be getting that free in the mail shortly enough. So, and by the way, guys, just FYI, one more time, we are skipping Thursdays now. And, of course, that makes perfect sense for this week since it's Thanksgiving anyway. But I will be back on Black Friday for a special double prize, extra long, like Friday episode of Ask the CHOQTOR. So that is double prize day. So that means we'll be giving away twice as many prizes. And, of course, I'll be going for hour and a half probably. Check out the other Friday super long Ask the CHOQTOR ones. They're super cool. Last week was awesome. The week before that on Friday, I was wearing a cowboy hat. And just going really deep on all sorts of fun topics. And we've been having a lot more fun, I feel like, in the last couple of weeks on here. Permission to be a little silly here and there, even though we're discussing some interesting, very deep topics. So, but yeah, you guys are awesome. Make sure, if you can, share this with your friends and family. Let everybody know that we're getting chalked up 4 times a week, giving away thousands of dollars a week in prizes. And that you can also remember, you can also ask me, hey, CHOQTOR, in the comments. I don't have time to answer them every day, but I will get around to it eventually. If you have any questions for me, leave them in the comments of this or any other video, but preferably a more recent one is easier. And then I'll get back to you. Any comments, any questions you got? So, all right. That was an intense one. You guys asked a ton of questions. It was awesome. So thanks to everybody for being here. You guys are fantastic. I will see you again tomorrow around the same time. Much love. And as always, stay human.